Hi, everybody. This is Crypto Rich, working with you to get rich with crypto, filling our pockets with crypto profits. And in this video, we're going to be finding out about a new and exciting and upcoming Cosmos-based project that is not only designed for great staking rewards, it also is out to make a difference. And we're going to find out how. If you decide that you want to preserve your privacy and make sure all the data that goes in and out of your computer is encrypted, then check out NordVPN. My affiliate link will give you something like a 2/3 discount on some of their packages.
Water. It's the foundation of all life. And as I make this video today, over 600 million men, women, and children lack access to clean drinking water. I can throw out statistics all day that 2,500 children die every day because of waterborne illnesses. I can share personal stories about holding dying children suffering from dehydration, but none of that really matters, because until we completely flip charity upside down by combining brand new incentive structures with revolutionary financial tools being built on Web3, almost none of it will change. Children will continue to die needlessly of preventable diseases like diarrhea. Nonprofits will continue to be forced to beg donors who aren't incentivized to give, and still won't be able to bring in top talent because they can't legally compensate based off performance, and they still won't have access to capital markets like for-profit entities do. So what do? You innovate. You create a DAO that not only helps provide clean water to those in need, but a DAO that helps create new products and platforms that empower nonprofits by helping them tap in a new set of financial tools. A DAO that financially incentivizes its members to participate, find new solutions, and build products alongside them. And that is able to attract top talent because it can afford to, and that on top of all of that, delivers real value to its investors. That's how you change the game. That's what Aqua does. Not just for us, but for philanthropy at large. It's our hope that you can join us on the journey. There's too much at stake for us not to succeed. The blueprint we create at Aqua will create ripples of impact and transformation that will travel far beyond our imagination. We can end the world water crisis in our lifetime. How soon we do it is entirely up to us.
Hey, Todd, thank you so much for making yourself available. Now, before I come to you, Todd, I want to say to people that they should subscribe to me at bit.ly/CryptoRichOdyssey. If you're watching this on YouTube, you really should come and follow me on Odyssey, because I post more material there, including the sort of stuff that YouTube doesn't like, which I don't post on YouTube. Also follow me on Twitter, CryptoRichYT, join my official Telegram announcements channel. And I'll have all the links to your project, Todd, in the description below, and people can find out about it. Do you want to say who you are and what your project is?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thanks for having me, Rich. I really appreciate it. And my name's Todd Songrath. I am the founder of Aqua.
Sorry,
real quick background.
Aqua.
Yeah, Aqua.
Aqua.
Yeah, either or. Okay. Yeah, several ways to pronounce it. Yeah, I say Aqua. It depends on where we're at, right? So I'm the founder of Aqua, right? Aquadao. So real quick backstory. For me, for the whole team, we basically all come from nonprofit world. We've done everything from house building to, serving the homeless, water wells, so on and so forth. And we all basically ran into the same problems over the years, where basically between regulations and lack of incentive systems, right, really being able to actually take care of people, bring in top talent, you're basically hamstringed and not able to scale and truly focus on and scale the mission and the work. And for myself, being the one that's kind of the investor into Web3 and crypto, said, there's got to be a time and a place where we actually really leverage Web3, crypto, NFTs, everything that it has to offer, and utilize that for good, right, and create real tangible difference, help organizations scale, so on and so forth. And for me personally, out of everything that I've done, in the nonprofit world, water's always kind of been the one that's, spoken most to my heart, been the thing that I'm most passionate about. So when we had the meeting, right, talked to everybody on the team, everybody that we've worked with in the past, we said, hey, let's create this. Let's focus on, water. So everything at Aqua is about providing clean water. We do that in multiple countries across the world. But at the same time, let's create a blueprint and open up a lane for other nonprofits, NGOs, people trying to do good to really be able to integrate Web3 in a way. Let's create some tools for them that allow them to do more of what they do best, but do so in a way where they can actually reward people that, whether it's donors, whether it's volunteers, bring on top talent, bring in more people, and actually be able to pay them based on performance, which typically you're not able to do in the nonprofit sector, right? So that's kind of the genesis of Aqua, where it came from, and we're getting pretty close to launching here in a couple of weeks.
Okay, and what does Aquadao do? How does it work?
Yeah, so we're actually a hybrid organization, right? So we have an LLC, we have the 501c3, and we have the DAO, right? The DAO obviously has the tokens built on Juno, so on and so forth. So what I tell people a lot of times, like, hey, with our mission, right, to bring clean water to as many men, women, and children as we can across the world, we can't just be siloed into one of these sectors, right? So we have to be able to operate still as a business with like real world producing assets. We still have to be able to have our token, create incentives, and then we still have to have, our traditional framework of the nonprofit. So we're basically ready on all fronts to start having, like in the traditional sense, on our 501c3, our traditional fundraising events, which will introduce the token, to our kind of standard donor base. On the LLC, what you'll end up seeing there is, hey, when we purchase these drill rigs, that brings down the cost of drilling, and essentially, we have partnerships in place from churches, nonprofits, so on and so forth, to where they empower their donor base, or they're basically funding wells, and part of that profit is going back into the DAO. And then we have the DAO itself, right, where it's going to be helped governed by the community. And then you have the token trading, so on and so forth. That'll help be able to fund some stuff, but again, creates all new incentives for everybody to get involved, such as like incentivized fundraising, so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, everything that we do points back to, let's drill as many water wells as possible. Let's provide as much clean water as we possibly can, while at the same time being able to reward investors too.
Okay, so how are you going to provide clean water? What are the
so we have on ground teams in Zambia, Liberia, Kenya, so on and so forth. That literally, so like this is what we did even before Aqua, right? So these are already like pre-established partnerships, things that we've all done and worked with, or teams that we've worked with. So for example, in Zambia right now, right? So Burgess is our team lead there. He's the one who handles all the logistics, has the teams prepped, contacts drillers, so on and so forth. So when we send $5,000, $6,000, right? Burgess is the one who leads the teams out, goes to the communities, handles all the interviews, sees what the specific needs are, takes all the count for the population, so on and so forth, and then they drill the well. We get all the pictures, the videos, so on and so forth, and then we post that to our Medium, share that with the community. And we do the same out in Kenya, Liberia, and in Haiti. We have a team as well. So yeah, we have all the actual like on ground teams there ready. It pretty much comes down to, at this point, us, right, being able to fund them, whether that's through our validator commissions, whether that's through NFT sales, and then once the token's trading, obviously we'll be able to vote on that through the DAO treasury, so on and so forth. But yeah, they're basically, most of them already all prepped, ready to rock and roll. Many of them already have pre-established organizations that they work with too, but all of them have basically kind of transferred over to Aqua. They're still running their own organizations as well, but yeah, we're all on the same page, and yeah, that's how we do it. They're the ones putting in the real work in the trenches. I've been to majority of the places, have drilled wells myself. So yeah, we have a pretty awesome team, and I tell people often, like, there's a big difference, right, between me and I have to do it more than I really like at this point right now, being behind the computer, phone calls, meetings, so on and so forth. And then really getting in the trenches, and I'm super proud of the people that we work with, because yeah, they're real movers and shakers, right? And kind of my goal, my mission throughout my years in the nonprofit land was like, how do we get founders and the people really doing the real work, making a real difference? How do we get them the resources that they need to really scale? And I've met people that are literally saving lives that can barely even put food on their own table, and that's been something that's always kind of not sat well with me.
Okay.
And that's really kind of a bigger mission where I'm like, I want to make sure that founders, that they're taken care of, that we can give them new tools where they can actually take care of themselves a bit.
And I'm sure when we get to the tokenomics, you'll spell out how that works. But before that, so you've already got these water drilling setups, water drills set up in different parts of the world, right? Now, how many are there, and what sort of communities do they serve? How do you decide that this location needs one? How does that all get worked out?
Yeah, again, so that's all done through our teams there. So example, if say in Zambia, right, with Burgess. So right now he literally has a list of 75 communities in Zambia that have all requested basically water wells to be drilled in their communities, right? So he goes and meets with the headmen or the village leads. Sometimes they have like a small committee. He goes and meets with all of them. They go over all the logistics, talk about, hey, these are the specific needs, how many people we have. Some communities might, need 1 well, 2 wells. And then the process there, after he logs all that, then once we're able to actually get the money over there, then boom, he meets, has the people come out, site the well, drill the well, and then we're good to go. So right now, what is it? Four on ground teams that we have. And yeah, they're basically all prepped for launch and ready for us to get it rocking and rolling and really kind of scale things.
Okay, and I imagine you funded it so far through traditional means.
Yeah. So everything from our pre-sale, right, multiple rounds on the pre-sale from NFTs. Myself personally, right, funding everything that I possibly can. Obviously, that's limited. That's where it's all came from so far. The validator, right? Our validator, we've been able to fund 4 water wells specifically just from our commissions there. So yeah, I think that puts us at 8 water wells since we started, and really now is when the real fun starts here when we launch in a couple of weeks.
All right, so you can launch in a couple of weeks. We're recording this on the 31st of December, 2022, and tell us about the launch. How will that work?
Yeah. So I know you did the interview with Wind, right? Mm-hmm. So as it stands right now, when Wind officially launches their DEX, Aqua will have 2 trading pairs. There'll be a Wind Aqua and a Juno Aqua, which we'll supply external rewards to. Obviously, with Aqua, hopefully we get some extra support with Wind and their gauges and whatnot. But we also have multiple social impact DAOs that we're curating at the same time. And then we're working on some snapshot tooling to where we'll actually be able to incentivize both of those pairs as well with tokens from each of our social impact DAOs. So ideally, how all of it works, because it's not a possibility in the UI UX right now with Wind, is ideally, right, you LP with Aqua, with the Aqua Wind or an Aqua Juno, you get the external rewards there, but then you're also getting all the additional tokens from our social impact DAOs too. So if I were to backtrack a little bit, with Aqua, like I said about creating a blueprint, kind of creating a lane. So with us, right, or with me, I personally believe that like the vast majority of nonprofits, NGOs, that they should all at some point create a DAO, have a token. And, I think that would be beneficial for them. So part of what we do as well is, right, from pre-existing partners, pre-existing organizations, to people that are trying to launch a startup or create a nonprofit, we say, hey, this is what we do. We can help curate you through this process, right? We can help you get educated on crypto Web3. We have some tools that are being built that you'll be able to utilize. And ultimately, with that, we say in exchange for that, X amount of tokens will be going to Aqua holders. Some will go to our validator. Some will go to LP positions in exchange for that. So right now we're curating 8 additional nonprofits right now. Some of them, again, are already pre-established, actual running operations, and some of them are startups. So with those tokens, we'll be incentivizing those pairs on Wind as well.
Okay. So these will be other NGOs that do other stuff different to what you're doing, and you're going to be supporting them. But I just want to go back to the pre-sale. Like if I wanted to get involved, if I wanted to get myself Aqua tokens, do I got to wait till they go live on the Windex or?
Yeah. So right now, right. So the pre-sale rounds are closed. So again, just to backtrack a touch too, there's no VC money. It's all community funded. So we had pre-sale round 1, pre-sale round 2, and those are both closed. So right now there's people, right, that stake with the validator that they're getting tokens from that. There's some NFT rewards that they're getting tokens from that. But aside from actually being able to get on there and trade, they have to wait till it's on Wind.
Great. And then I imagine what will happen is the market will determine the price because it's a DEX and people will buy and sell it for.
Yeah. And we'll add some initial liquidity, obviously, for both pairs. It won't be a ton, But yeah, obviously we'll be incentivizing that, of course. But yeah, then that's when the real fun starts, and you let the market decide.
Okay, all right. Now, Aqua is a project built on Junochain, which is part of the Cosmos ecosystem. Now, why did you choose to build within Cosmos? Is it because, I mean, it can't have been because Cosmos has really low transaction fees. It can't be because it's really fast. It can't be because there's no load. It can't be because there's no, they're all independent blockchains that are able to communicate with each other. Beats me why you didn't do it on Ethereum or something. Do you want to say something about why you chose Cosmos?
Yeah. Full transparency. My crypto journey, and kind of the rabbit holes that I went down was actually on Terra, right? And obviously we know what happened with Terra.
Yeah.
So I was actually, in a hackathon with Angel Protocol, with Komodo money, which we're integrating in one of our platforms. The guys are super cool. So I got real involved in the Terra community, made a bunch of connections there, so on and so forth. And then, we were actually building on Terra at first. That was kind of the original goal. So we had I don't know if you recall Pylon Protocol by any chance. So anyway, we were actually getting some stuff set up there, and at the same time, I had stumbled across Juno, and while I was trying to get devs and so on and so forth, get everything going on Terra, I had met a dev and consultants over on Juno, right? And so at the same time, they're like, "Hey, this is everything about Juno." You start learning about it, and he said, "Okay, so we can develop here." And so I said, "All right, well, this is everything that we want to do. This is the mission, the vision. If you guys are able to help, bring that to light, then let's do that. Let's do it where you're most comfortable." So we officially kind of started on Juno, and then everything right around like Prop 16, right when there's the Juno well and so on and so forth. Right around when that was happening, I talked to, multiple platforms and people that I know at Terra, and kind of in the midst of all that, we had what was it, Apollo, Pylon. We were talking to Atlo at the time, Valkyrie Protocol, about, hey, if, I'm not sure what's going to happen on Juno. If this happens, would we be able to get something set up? Would we be able to migrate back to Terra? Would we be able to launch? And we had actually we were looking at some really solid numbers at that time. This is before the collapse. And at that given time, I said, hey, like, I'm not sure what's going to happen here. We have killer opportunities right now at Terra, and long term, do I think that would be best? And I had to make a really hard decision at that time and said, we're migrating to Terra. So again, we kind of followed up on those, and literally a week before we were set to launch and do the raises there, that's when Terra collapsed. And right when I did that, I sent a message to Wolf at Juno, said, hey, this is what's going on. He said, no problem, like, come back, welcome with open arms. And at that same time too, there was the Terra Developer Fund, talked to Kevin and all the guys, went through the process there, and we landed back on Juno. So, I know that at the same time made some people upset. And what I tell people, I said, listen, before anything, I'm human first, and my goal is to, within Aquas, to get as much clean water to be as successful as possible, and help as many people as we can. And at that time, I thought that was the better of the two decisions. And that's my truth. I don't have anything to hide. I'm not ashamed of that move, and I think it all works out how it's supposed to.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And then back to the token. And by the way, I can completely get how attractive the Cosmos ecosystem is, and it is because it's fast, it's cheap. There's high rewards. The level of the interoperability between the different blockchains. It's so smooth. It's so smooth. And I do have to say something about the Osmosis DEX, which is how I got into it, through the Osmo airdrop. It's like, that's how I discovered it. Like, what a beautiful, sweet DEX. And perhaps one day you'll be on Osmo, or you'll probably be on Frontier.
We've that's an option for sure.
Yeah, well, somebody will list you on Frontier, maybe, right, and start their own pool as they can, right? Osmosis Frontier. And by the way, if you're watching this, I do invite you to check out my series of videos on how to get going to earn a really good passive income by engaging with the Osmosis DEX. And the lessons that I teach in there are also transferable to JunoSwap, and will also be transferable to the Windex when that launches. Okay, so I can get the tokens when they launch on Windex, when Windex launches, and I can then stake them, and I could LP them. But this token does other stuff. It provides water, and then I get rewards, I think, by providing water to people that need water. How does that work?
Yeah, so that's part of it, right? So obviously, right, you can LP, stake, all the kind of traditional stuff. Another piece of it is on our first platform that we released, version 1, probably, by the time that the video plays, probably two weeks or so after that. So we have a crowdfunding type of Kickstarter, GoFundMe platform where basically any project or protocol, they can launch their fundraising there. Anybody that wants to raise money for any sort of cause anywhere, they can basically create a campaign in a couple clicks, and within all of that, people have to buy Aqua, utilize Aqua on that platform. So that's another cool piece of utility there that I think a lot of people will enjoy. But yeah, so the token itself, right? Obviously, we want to get it to as many people as possible, build as much value as possible, just like any other token. But the actual how do you fund the water? That's going to come from Treasury, validator, incentives and rewards, other people fundraising, right? So again, that kind of goes back to the 501c3, the LLC as well. The last thing that we want to do is dilute the token and just use our tokens for everything, and that's why I have a big emphasis on the LLC and the 501c3 side. But yeah, the token, obviously, right, the more valuable it is, the more that we're able to do. And sorry, I just cut you I cut you off on the original question. If you can repeat,
talk me through the tokenomics. How is that going to work? And how does it benefit the people in Zambia and Haiti?
Yeah, so for instance, the first example, right? Highest priority for us is buying and owning our own drill rigs. So what we'll do in that case is say, hey, we have a proposal from the Treasury, the community pool. We propose X amount of Aqua so that we can fund this drill rig in Zambia, say, for instance. And so in Zambia, again, right, we have 75 wells that need to be drilled out there in communities. That funding for those wells is coming from other organizations, other churches, and then we get a cut of that, and that goes back to the Aqua Treasury, right? So, typically in a lot of places, they're charging anywhere from $7,500 to $10,000 per well, when in reality, when you own your own rigs, when that's already all paid for, you basically take out the middleman, essentially, then you're really able to do wells for, depending on location, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. So with that extra $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, that's money that we're bringing back into the DAO, buying tokens back, distributing it to stakers, LPs, so on and so forth. So that's one piece of the tokenomics there. But again, to get that first initial, to procure the asset, right, the drilling rig, that's going to be an initial governance proposal where we'll actually have to sell some Aqua tokens for that. But right. With majority of the people, they understand, hey, the kind of the short, mid, long term within the community. But that's really going to be one of the main drivers for the revenue side.
Okay, and then the wells, are they owned by the local community at some point? Do you hand them over, or do they remain the property of Aqua?
Yeah. So with each community, right, there's essentially, right, our on-ground teams, they go in, they meet. A lot of times it's whether it's orphans or small committees. Basically, they go, they train them because a lot of times, and I'm not even going to get into it, there's a ton of wells that have been drilled in Africa, all over the world, that basically are defunct. And most of it's because of little maintenance issues, and then the drillers don't drill far enough because it saves them more money, so on and so forth. But basically we go in, we train kind of the leaders of the community, and then from there we pretty much hand it off to them, right? They train the communities in proper hygiene, how to use it, so on and so forth. And then they have direct access to our on-ground teams. So if at any given time, hey, there's some issues with the water, or there's some issues with the maintenance, they give Burgess, right? Say if he's in Zambia, they give Burgess a call. He goes out, checks it all out, reports back to us. Hey, Todd, we have, a fix. It's a $50 fix for the well. Hey, we need to drill deeper. Let's do that. So that's, and again, that's all stuff that we already do and have done before, but now it's just going to be under the Aqua umbrella.
Okay. And then Burgess, how does he get remunerated?
Sorry, remunerated? Do you mean how does he get paid?
He's not a volunteer, right? He needs to get paid.
No. So currently, so right now he has his own nonprofit too, his own job.
Right.
But once everything officially launches, then he'll end up having a stipend. But really, it's going to be all coming from the LLC side for him, right? So you get the drill rig out to Zambia. now he's going to be able to take a little cut of each water well that he drills too. So that's a new incentive there versus just getting paid from a nonprofit at X amount. And we don't want to just send a ton of Aqua tokens to the team. So he has a cut of the team tokens that will vest over 2 years. But yeah, our goal with that is really we don't want to just burn a ton of the Aqua tokens. So it's like, hey, let's actually incentivize you and your team and any of our teams by saying, hey, these are the assets that you have. Now you have your own drilling business. Essentially, the vast majority of that comes back to Aquadao, but for each well that you drill, right, that you help get funds, so on and so forth, then they get a percentage of that money as well. So we still have to determine that on our side, right, what that looks like for each well, whether that's, hey, Burgess, you get, $300 per well or $500 per well, but the main goal there is to bring back, per each for each well that we do, probably around $2,000 back into the DAO, right? So we'll buy back the Aqua tokens at that point.
Okay, and the LLC, which is a limited liability company, is still going to be raising money through traditional means as well.
Yeah. So the LLC will be right. So the LLC won't be raising money per se. Like that'll actually be the business transaction where the churches are paying $5,000 per well. They'll handle that, but then on the 501c3 part, that's when we'll have more of your traditional fundraisers as well. So that's, whether that's me, anybody else on the team, anybody in the community that feels like, hey, I want to become a fundraiser, all that will be done through those traditional means. So it'll be a blend of Web 2, Web 3, and that's always been my thing, in trying to communicate with our community. They're like, why isn't it just like strictly Web 3? And for me, I said, we all come from say Web 2, traditional finance, so on and so forth, and for me to like educate the vast majority of our donors on like, hey, how do you get Aqua? You got to get a centralized exchange. You got to sign up for this, store your wallet, learn how to do this DEX, all the different steps that it takes. When they're just like, we just want to donate, $500 or whatever it is. Like, can I just enter my card in 2 minutes done? And so, I didn't want to, disclude any of that portion. I didn't want to disclude any of that in our transition to Web3. I wanted to still really be able to access and tap into all of that. Right. Same with corporate partners that we have. Right. Same thing. They're like, we don't necessarily, we're not there yet on the Web3, but we still want to support everything that you're doing. And so for us, we say, okay, you can donate, but then we'll be able to use that, for token buybacks for XYZ too. So yeah. So again, that hybrid model, it really allows us a lot of flexibility and not just depending on the Aqua token to fund everything.
Right. Okay. And then you mentioned earlier NFTs. What are you going to be launching NFTs, and what will they be based on?
Yeah. So we've had a series of NFTs, and how I kind of view NFTs, right? Obviously, like art is speculative, but for me, how I've always viewed NFTs is like, hey, the ticketing use case is pretty cool. Or like, hey, if you have, if you hold these NFTs, then you get access to one of our trips, or you get access to our fundraisers, or whatever the many cases can be. But honestly, how I view them is a way to reward people that support you early on. So we've had several NFT lines, but all of them have tokens attached to them, right? So if they're buying, we had the Aquanauts or Los Amigos, there's the Hearts of Juno. All of those, if you buy or purchase any of those, right, on Stargaze or on Loop, that you're actually getting tokens back too. So it was another way for us to obviously raise money for our water wells, but to reward like early investors, early supporters as well. So we have 3 of them. We're actually, it actually is already live right now on Stargaze. But one of the things that we just launched is it's about $100 equivalent in stars, is you'll be able to display your NFT on the water wells that we drill. So on the next 5 water wells that we do in Zambia, people that buy this NFT, they'll be able to display their favorite NFT on the actual water well itself. So when we're doing our pictures and our video, doing the kind of documentary type stuff, they'll actually be able to see like, hey, that's my picture of our NFT. Like it's a cool way to just kind of show people like, hey, let's go beyond the typical use cases of NFTs and actually see like the real world impact. So obviously the purchase of the NFTs helps fund water wells. But yeah, we wanted to do something cool that kind of gives people bragging rights, or something that they can kind of show off to family, friends, or social networks and be like, hey, my NFT does more than just, a profile picture. And there's actual like real use cases and so on and so forth.
Okay, very cool. And then the other projects that you're going to be working with and supporting to launch, give me an idea of what sort of areas or issues that they address, please.
Yeah. So let's see. So CASA, that's housing, right? So I work pretty closely with them over the years down in Mexico, as I mentioned before. So there's multiple kind of components to it. But CASA, that's basically housing women and children. Again, that's already pre-established partnerships, organizations that are already going. There's Sparrow, same thing, already pre-established organization. That's, with them, it's about building hope all over the world. So they do work in Uganda, they do work here locally where I'm at, Monterey, Carmel. There's so with each one, right? They all kind of cover, whether that's food, water, shelter. They all kind of have, what they do, just as any other nonprofit. Our goal is to basically say, how do we take you from, your current operations, and how do we get you into this hybrid model to now where you have your own DAO, you have your own community over here, you have your own token that you can, again, incentivize and leverage to be able to scale or really just create a whole lot of different opportunities for you guys to be more successful, to create more revenue, so on and so forth. So yeah, that's an exciting process. And what I tried to relay and I need to communicate better, just even within the Aqua community, is like, it doesn't take away from Aqua, right? I mean, obviously those will all be launching on Juno as well. But for us, it's like, how do we, if we're going to be curating this process, curating these organizations, we want to, again, they have to give us a certain percentage of their tokens that we can use. So it brings, like, whether that's airdrops, whether that's a percentage to our validator to be able to distribute to our delegators. Like, that's for us to work with these organizations to curate them. They have to be adding value to Aqua at the same time. And then they're able to do their own thing and run their own journeys, and we'll be there right alongside them. But it's not something where it's like I'm in every single organization, I'm doing everything for them. It's not taken away from my main thing, which is Aqua. But yeah, how I view it, it's a value add for the whole ecosystem that we're building.
Sure. So that's CASA. What are some of the other ones?
Yeah. So there's Mana. That's all food. There's Summit. That's all homeless services. There's Sunset. There's Tree, which is like environmental. Gosh, what else is there? I have to look here on my phone. Oh, Middle Ground. That's malnutrition in Haiti. Again, a pre-established organization. I mean, they do by themselves probably 300 to 500,000 or so in donations and revenue. So we'll be adding, the DAO wing and the token to them too. So yeah, all of them are super exciting, cool in their own ways, do great work in their own ways, and yeah, we just want to give them more tools essentially to do what they do.
Sure. Okay. And if people want to find out about those other projects, they can do that through the Aquadao website?
Yeah. So website's currently under construction again. But to find out about them, like, really what I need to do is just make a link tree, to be honest. But I would say, hey, go to our Discord and you can find some of the projects there. They all have their own Twitters right now, except for Sunset and Tree. And that's what I told them, hey, you got to get the Twitters up ASAP, and then we'll get you up to speed on all that. But I think seven of them have Twitters, and that's something that I'll have to put on a link tree. Probably just throw that up on our Twitter too, so everybody can see it. Just say, hey, these are all the other DAOs. Check out their Twitters, Discord, all that.
Okay, and I'll have the link to your Twitter, Aquadao.zone's Twitter, and also Discord in the description below, right? So let me get this. If I sum this all up, right? So Aqua has been going for a while set up by a whole bunch of people who've worked in NGOs, and what Aqua does is set up water wells where water is scarce to provide water for the local community. You're working in 4 countries currently, and you've done pre-sales for the Aqua token. It's going to be launching on Windex in a few weeks' time, and then people can buy into that token, and that gives them voting rights about the direction of Aqua as per proposals as they go, and also they can get staking rewards and LP rewards. And then at the same time, the way the project is set up is it's still got access to traditional legacy financing, which makes it easier because corporates aren't going to go and watch my video on how to set up a Kepler wallet necessarily. They're just going to send you a fat check, right?
Yeah.
And then yeah, that's right, hopefully, right? And then that's going to increase your ability to provide more and more water wells in distressed parts of the world. And at the same time, you're going to be supporting other projects that are setting up within Junochain or the Cosmos ecosystem to go make a difference in whatever way they want to do, whether it's housing or food or anything. Is there anything I've missed out?
No, that's a great that's a great bird's eye view of it. And again, right, with Aqua, everything points back to water, and we believe that there really is like a way to have a win-win system to where it's, I try to stay away from like the word charity, right? Because all the stuff that comes with it, and they're like, oh, but I'm like, no, there's real ways that we deliver value. to investors, while still being able to do good in the world. And that's kind of something that I've always stayed up super late at night trying to figure out, like, how do we, like, because with donors, right, say with a donation, it's just a one-way transaction where it's like, hey, I donate and then I get, I feel good, or I see some pictures or video, but I'm not getting anything back. And when it's an investor, right, it's like, hey, this is my hard-earned money and I'm expecting something back. I want to be able to utilize these tokens in an array of ways, and ultimately I want to make, most people want to make money off of it. And so, yeah, that's never really been a possibility up until now to my, to my recognition or my knowledge. So
Yep.
that's something I'm excited about, to be like, hey, you can actually do good, make money, help shape this thing as it goes forward. And if you prefer traditional means of supporting it, we have that option too. And yeah, I'm super excited about it. I'm a little bit nervous, since we've worked so hard on it for a while now. But yeah, it'll be fun once we get kind of version 1 of the Web3 app out, right, where people can create their own fundraisers. It's permissionless, so on and so forth. They can launch their own projects and protocols. That'll be pretty cool to see out there in the wild too.
Great. Okay. Is there anything else you want to let us know, Todd?
Yeah. I think Rich, honestly, you did a great job covering it. I would just say again, for Aqua to be like ultimately successful, we're going to need a lot of support. We want to obviously scale as fast as we can, right? But we're going to need people to really jump in to create their LP pairs. And that's one of the reasons why we're really trying to get people to understand, like, hey, we're incentivizing it with all these other ecosystem tokens as well on top of Aqua. But as we continue to bring on more and more DAOs, as we curate more people, more organizations, that we can get to a point where, hey, now you're, for LPing Aqua token, now you get 15 different, DAOs that we're curating. We get those tokens too. And so we really kind of want to paint that vision to where it's like, hey, we're creating a blueprint for all these other organizations to come in. And you're, as an Aqua holder, or LP, or you delegate to our validator, you're going to be getting the value from all of those tokens as well on top of Aqua. And so we really trying to get to a point where we have that flywheel effect, and really incentivize people to, like, hey, get involved. You can earn a ton of tokens from all this. You can make money while you're actually helping support the actual work that we do.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. And can't really argue with free, clean drinking water for people. There's no, it's like, no, that's got to be done.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, until I saw it firsthand, like, I didn't understand it fully. Yeah. And when I did it, right, you see little girls carrying the buckets on their head like you see in magazines and whatnot. But when I actually saw that up close and personal, and then I tried carrying it myself and whatnot, I'm just like, whoa, that's a game changer. And that's, ever since I've felt that, it's been number one priority with any of the work that I do. So.
Great. Well, listen, thank you so much. And I'll have the links in the description below. And if anybody has any comments or questions, put them in the description below. But do go check out this project, follow them on Twitter, and join their Discord group, and then you'll know when it's going to get launched on Windex. And of course, subscribe to my channel because I'll keep covering Cosmos projects. And Todd, thank you so much. And everybody who's watching, thank you. And between now and when I see you next, please keep filling your pockets with crypto profits. Crypto Rich and Crypto Todd signing out. All the best. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Rich.